Welcome to Campus Culture. I'm your host, Lamont Holden, music producer and professor of music, audio, and recording technology here at the University of Illinois School of Music in the Fine and Applied Arts Department. These are conversations that matter for the culture here on campus at UIUC and campuses around the world. We are filming here with the live audience here at the Bruce Nesbitt African American Cultural Center on campus at the University of Illinois. Our next guests represent a coalition of black student leadership here on campus at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. She is a marketing major, president of the Delta Rho Chapter of the Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. Please welcome Shaheeda Dade. She is a senior psychology major, vice president of the Gamma Chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Please welcome Deona Cathey. He is a senior sports management major, president of the Tau chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. Please welcome Devin Muñoz.
Period.
And she is a senior political science major, president of the Black Greek Council, second vice president of the Alpha Nu chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and the history and archives intern here at the Bruce D. Nesbitt African American Cultural Center. Please welcome Kayla Brothers.
Hello.
I definitely appreciate y'all joining me here on Campus Culture. Since roll call, I was very impressed with everything y'all did. I've been impressed with the leadership, the character, the movement I see on campus. So I'm happy to have y'all. And so we're just gonna get into this first question. So a lot of students forego predominantly white institutions in favor of an experience at HBCUs that's seen as more deeply embedded in black culture. The Black Greek Council's existence is a hub of black culture on a Big Ten PWI campus. So the question is, what is the council's role in cultivating that experience, not only for other members of the Divine Nine, but for all black students?
Like the president should answer that.
Oh, wow. Devil, not you just did that. Okay, so I would say for BGC's role in cultivating, I would say an inclusive environment for everyone. Coming into office last November, me and my council have made the decision to open up our events. BGC is usually an organization that holds events for just black Greeks in general. So like, whether that be leader workshops or career fairs and things like that, we saw that our opportunity in order to expand and broaden our horizons. So we're more so opening up events to the public, whether that be other Greeks or other Greeks fraternity sororities on campus, or individuals out there. We're more so opening up and cultivating an inclusive environment for everyone instead of just like limiting ourselves to our community. So yes.
Anybody want to add anything to that?
She said everything.
That's why she's the president. So what role does your culture play in your education and your projected career path? And that's for everybody.
Can I ask a clarifying question?
Yes.
When you say culture, do you mean like black culture?
I mean black culture. I mean, if you're from Chicago, if you're from the burbs, if you're from the country, all culture, everything that comprises who you are.
Okay. Anybody else want to go first?
I'll go first. So just being born on the Southside of Chicago, I wear it on my sleeve everywhere I go. So like coming to Champaign, I just tried to add everything from like the neighborhood I grew up in. I'm from the Southside Englewood area. So I try to just carry that, and that's just motivation to like try to bring a new sense of culture to campus, because, you know what I'm saying, there's not a lot of people out here that come from the Southside and the Englewood area. So I just try to bring light to that, and I just try to like just bring a new sense of what a new like direction of culture can do for the community, specifically the black community as well.
What's it like going back to Englewood after being on campus here?
It's humbling. A lot of people, specifically a lot of children, they look at me as a role model. They look at me as they look at me as somebody that they can look up to, and that's humbling, and it's kind of like, I don't know, it's different in a sense, because coming up where I'm from, I always grew up just looking up to like my cousins, my uncles in the area. But now, like, you grow up pretty fast coming where I'm from. So now to be like the face of where I grew up at, it's just truly an amazing experience, and like it just add more pressure. But I feel like I'm handling the pressure pretty well. So Yeah.
Anybody else want to add to that one?
I can add. I'm also from the Southside of Chicago, and both of my parents attended here, so I definitely played a big role in my education and just making them proud, because they did go here, and it's a very prestigious school, and I'm really happy that I got into the business school here, and just my parents playing a big part in supporting me throughout my journey.
And where are you from?
From the South Side of Chicago, Hyde Park, Kenwood area.
Okay. As I can relate to that experience, I grew up in Columbus, Ohio, but my dad lived in Hyde Park. So I used to go to Apostolic Church over there on 53rd. So I'm just thinking about all those experiences, how those shaped my attitudes towards, in the 90s, I didn't know that we had a legacy of higher education, right? And then, when I was doing my research about the Divine Nine, I didn't know those organizations started so early, and some of them at PWI campuses. As I was telling Deona when we started, I played football when I was here. I didn't get a chance to play it. So for me, it's a learning experience and trying to educate everybody else about, what it's like to be a part of a Black Greek organization. So I want to jump ahead a little bit. And here's the question I want to ask you. What is your house's most recent or greatest act of service? I would say in the last year. What would be something y'all want to brag about and say, hey, this is what we really do?
I can.
Can I say one thing?
Yes, ma'am.
So as far as the term houses,
I'm sorry.
I to go by organizations.
I apologize for that. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's
Organizations, okay. And I'm sorry. I will correct myself with that.
That's okay.
Okay, I'm sorry, but go ahead.
So I would say for the Alpha Nu chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, recently we did do a cancer walk, and we raised over $1,000 with almost 60 participants. So I would say that was our biggest act of service so far. It's more to yet come.
For the Tall Chapter of Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, we gave back to 4 students, and we gave out tall stimulus funds for COVID. And I feel like that was our biggest act of service, because for the pandemic, it was pretty hard because a lot of people, specifically a lot of students, lost their jobs. So, we try to think of ways that we can give back to the community. And I feel like that was a powerful thing to do, because when we gifted these students with their tall stimulus fund, they were really appreciative of it. And, we were just reading the stories, and just to see how many people needed that, we just felt, strongly and powerful that we did something like that, because we didn't know that a lot of people were going through tough times and hard times like that, because, most of the time we just trying to worry about getting by and worry about just ourselves. But we had to put ourselves into, the other student body shoes. So just to do something for the community like that, I would definitely say that was our greatest act of service this year.
Yeah, definitely. Give it up for that one.
I would say our biggest act of service and my personal favorite that we've done this year was we had a Gamma career fair, and I feel like it was very beneficial because we had an opportunity to put our guests who came to that program in a space where they could speak to people who came to Illinois, graduated from Illinois, are at the top of their career field, and give them an opportunity to ask questions and figure out what did they do that I can do to get to where they are, and basically just lend a helping hand and show people that you can get to that place, because they were once an Illinois student too. So I feel like that was really beneficial.
And Shaheeda?
So our Founders Week is next week, so we will have tons of events, and one of our events is a canned food drive that we'll be having, and our locations for donating are at OMSA on 610 East John Street, so be on the lookout for that.
Hey, that's awesome. When we were promoting Illini Anthem back in the summer, I came to a stakeholders meeting, and I reached out to a few of you about, finding ways to get involved and using this as a place to bring people together. And there was a message that was sent, because I want to make sure I listen to the students. I don't want to just assume what they might want, right? And so one of the messages there was, well, our organizations are always being asked to come do the popular thing. And obviously that's a big part of that is stepping, right? But y'all are so much more than that. And so the reason I wanted to ask that question was just to let people know these are organizations that give back, that do things for people. So these are acts of service. And I definitely wanted to make sure we highlighted that. So thank you. So the next question would be, What do you say to prospective students of color, black students, who are considering coming to UIUC for undergrad? What would y'all say to them?
I would say to prospective students, like, college is cool, college is fun. You go, you have experiences, you meet people, but at the end of the day, you're here to get a degree. And when you're choosing a school to go to, a degree from the University of Illinois, it holds a lot of weight. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of people who come through Illinois. 9 times out of 10, you're going to meet somebody who graduated from here or knows somebody who graduated from here. And it can really help you when you're going through, you know, your journey to get to the top of your career path, because people will help you if they come from the same place. So I think when figuring out what school to choose, it's important to remember that you're here for a degree. The experiences will come wherever you go, but you're here to get an education.
Mm-hmm. And Deona, can you tell me your major one more time?
I'm a psychology major and a criminology minor.
So when we were in pre-production, you were telling me about kind of what pulls you into that field and what you hope to get accomplished in the next step of your career. Can you talk about that a little bit?
So I want to be an attorney. I'm not sure what kind of attorney I want to be, whether I want to be a prosecutor or defense. And we were kind of talking about, like, at the end of the day, I want to go home, look myself in the mirror, be able to go to sleep at night knowing that I helped somebody. I don't want to put somebody on the street who should not be there, and I don't want to defend somebody who I know has done something wrong. So that's why I'm still kind of toying with all the options, because I want to make sure that I'm not here for the money. I'm here to make change. I'm here to bring other black people into the industry. I don't want to be the only black woman attorney. I want to be surrounded by black women attorneys. I want to be surrounded by black men and women who are judges, who are in the field with me. So definitely trying to put more people of color in those rooms to make those big decisions and be a part of the conversation.
Hey, those are righteous moves. So, yes.
I loved everything you said.
That was really good.
So for the rest of you, things you would tell black students of color that are going to be coming here?
I would encourage students to utilize their resources. U of I is a school that just pride themselves on just like so many resources, mentally, academically. So I feel like it'll be a better experience once you utilize all those resources that like a lot of people don't even know about. But that's going to like these fairs, looking on the websites. It could just be just simple, like just Google search. And I feel like once you utilize your resources, that creates a better pathway to, you know, just to expand your horizon about the school and just expand your knowledge as well. So,
yeah.
Personally, my experience here has been great. I transferred here my sophomore year. So since then, I've actually had a great time. I feel like the education is great, but also like expanding on what they're saying, students should do their research because every college is not for you. And also look into your degree because U of I is also a competitive school. It's a great school, but it's competitive. So make sure like you know what you're coming here for. And also, yeah, just do your research and make sure this is the right fit for you because it could not be. And then in a certain extent, you kind of wasted a year where you could have been somewhere else that you probably were leading towards.
Would you mind sharing the story? I don't know if you want to talk about it because I was trying to read, but where were you? What was the story of leaving?
Oh, my first school. Yeah. I went to Hampton University, and Hampton was great, actually, but it was very far from home.
Oh, okay.
And so this was my next option, actually the greatest option, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And this is where I decided to come, and this is where I've built a life.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So the next question I guess I would ask is about the culture here at U of I, right? What do y'all do on the weekends? You know, what's the weekend routine? What's the entertainment? What's the music? What's important? What's the style?
I'll be trying to get some sleep.
Getting the homework done.
But rest is real in style, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, but at the beginning of the year and just like, I mean, throughout like the months and stuff, like we'll have parties, we'll have like kickbacks where we invite other Greek organizations like to the house so we can just kick it, you know, play games and stuff like that and just listen to music. But other than that, we just be doing homework, just trying to catch up on sleep because it just be so much to do throughout the week.
Yeah.
So
piggybacking off what Devo said, I'm going to talk more about BGC. So BGC has tried to cultivate I wouldn't say social aspect, but more so a repertoire between the organizations. So, and this hasn't happened often. We posted, you know, a barbecue for everybody to come to, you know, share food. They can bring food. We posted actually several things. It's escaping my mind right now, but we've hosted several things for orgs to come together and kind of like, get to know each other, fellowship with each other. And now, especially since we're on campus and the campus is open, we're going to be seeing each other a lot, and we actually have a lot of dealings with one another. So that's how we've kind of tried to associate and to build relationships within our culture.
That's awesome. Anybody else for the culture? What do y'all do?
I'm kind of boring. I don't really do.
You said you got a boring, and you got.
I sleep on the weekends. I'll hang out with like my close friends and stuff. I don't go to that many parties, but I think kind of piggybacking off of what she said, like there are a lot of events to go to on the weekends, like to just go meet people, fellowship with people, get to know people. So I think that that's like a really good thing that we have on this campus is like the Black community comes together and we do a lot of stuff. So I think that's good.
One thing I'll say generationally, I feel like when I was in school, like we gravitated towards the big party, and I feel like y'all have discovered the joy in like the small intimate gathering, right? And I'm kind of I wish I'd have known or had a better feel for that when I was in school. So my next question is for Deona, because we talked about this in pre-production, right? And so I was listening to one of my favorite podcasts, and I had saw the season premiere of Insecure, right? And so there was a big online conversation because one of the characters, their character was an AKA, but they themselves were not, and they were wearing the letters. And so I was just kind of asking you about your opinion and maybe your take on how people were upset about that. They said, hey, if you're not in the organization, you shouldn't be wearing the letters. Can you talk about that a little bit?
I think that all of my sorors had valid opinions. I don't watch the show. I didn't see the episode, but I do understand where everybody is coming from. I understand why people would be upset because when you think about it, like, I wanted to be an AK for I don't know how long. My mom was an AK, so seeing her, wearing her letters, wearing her period, doing service, like, I was looking forward to that. And you can't wear, letters until you earn them. So I think the reason why people are upset is because that person, even though she is an actress and she was playing a role, she didn't, go through the process to become an AK, so people felt away. So I think that everybody's opinions are valid, like, however you see it. I personally didn't feel too strong about it only because I really don't watch the show like that, but I definitely understand where everyone is coming from.
Yeah, for me, I always try to stay in a place of like learning, right? And so it was a learning moment for me as I kind of watched the conversation. That's what I love about social media. I think we get to see those conversations play out in real time. Hopefully, people walk away with better understanding. So,
And I think the biggest thing is just listening to people. Like, if someone tells you that something offended them, you don't necessarily have to understand or feel what they're feeling, but you can say, I'm sorry that offended you, and try not to do that again if people are upset. So I think the biggest thing is just listening to understand, not just listening.
That's big facts. Would y'all add to that?
I have no comments on that.
I agree. My mom was also a part of the Rho Chapter here, and I agree with you saying like how if you haven't like done the work, how can you represent my org? So yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we always go back and forth about the Q&A, but did anybody have any questions at this time? Do we have questions? Okay, so we're gonna pass that mic. Can we? Yeah, CJ, can you?
Hi, hello.
That'll work.
I am an alum and a past BNAC intern, and I would like to know why you all joined your organization and what do you love about your organization?
I'll definitely go first. What brought me into Alpha, specifically the Talk Chapter, was just the brotherhood. I'm the first person to be Greek, have Greek affiliations in my family on both my dad and my mom's side. And when I came here, I didn't know anything about Greek life at all. Like, the only thing I knew about it was just seeing like Stump the Yard and stuff like that. But I didn't really know anything about it. But it took me to like just to like expand like my network and expand who I knew. And like in some of the toughest times of my life, like when I lost my best friend to gun violence my sophomore year, and I lost my aunt my freshman year, the Brothers of Talk Chapter kind of brought me in as a little brother, and they were just like comforting, like, yeah, we here for you. And I gravitated to them. They helped me out professionally, academically, financially, anything that I needed. And that was something different. I never experienced that in high school, never experienced that in middle school. So just to have that sense of brotherhood and just to see like just black men try to just do something positive and come where I'm from, like that's rare. So I knew it was just an easy choice to be an alpha.
I'll kind of piggyback off of what Devil said. I joined Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated for the sisterhood. When I went my freshman year, I came into college not knowing anything about Greek life. And man, I went to a HBCU, so I was like a fish out of water. I didn't know anything. I'm not the first Greek person in my family, but that's like distant family. So all of this was new to me. So going there, learning, seeing, researching, and seeing that the Deltas, whether that be at Hampton or the Alpha Nu chapter here, they had a very strong sisterhood. And they also did a lot of acts of service. And I realized that if I was going to join this organization, first off, this was going to be a lifetime commitment. So I had to be prepared for that, and I was. And then I got to know people, and I saw that they were genuine, friendly ladies. And just experiencing all of that, going to programs, being, not enveloped in the sisterhood because I was not a Delta yet, but like feeding off of the energy they were giving each other, it just solidified why I was gonna join this organization.
Hey, that's dope. Like that one. Shaheeda, Deona?
So a really big part of why I joined, my mom, my dad he was a Omega here. And she took me to a networking event that Sigma Gamma Rho was having at the Union, like I think it was like 2 years ago. And this is when I was still on the track team here. So like I was like, no, I'm just going to focus on track. And then when I went to that event, like I think that's really what sparked my interest in joining, because although it's a sisterhood, it also felt like it's also like a business. So like networking and getting to know like different women. And I got to meet someone who was in the marketing field, which is something I'm interested in going into. So I think that was a really huge part of why I chose the sorority.
For me, my first experience with Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated was when I was in high school. I did a cotillion for the grad chapter that my mom is now a part of. And just that experience, like being mentored by the women in the sorority, seeing how successful they were, seeing basically everything they were doing, I looked up to them. Like being that whole experience, like I just met so many people that I was able to turn into like a role model. They were doing exactly what I wanted to be doing in life in terms of like success in their field, service. Like it just really drew me in, and just the way that they dealt with me and the other participants in the cotillion, like they were super nice, like they were friendly, like everything drew me into them and just made me really look up to them. So that's why I pursued. That was like my origin story of why I pursued.
So definitely for anybody watching, y'all really just made like the recruitment pitch for your organization, because that was all awesome stuff. So just a couple more questions before we get out of here. So have y'all heard Illini Anthem?
Yeah.
Okay, so I just want to know what y'all think about it. Even if you don't like it, we'll take the bad too, good, bad. But it was something different. We was trying. What y'all think?
I liked it.
I liked it.
For real? I ain't go. All right. So when I came by the stakeholders meeting, because Kayla, were you at that meeting?
No.
Okay. So somebody from BGC was at that meeting, and I was sitting in the back going, them students gonna think this song was corny. That was that whole thing. So really, what y'all think when y'all heard it for real?
I thought it was different.
I was going to use that word.
Yeah, it's a pretty catchy song.
Yeah. In terms of like traditions, especially as far as like black students being involved in mainstream traditions on campus, one, do you feel like that's something that has been happening since you got here? And two, do you think a song like that could help?
I feel like the song can definitely help. I feel like everybody's got to support it though.
Yeah.
It's all about the support.
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, we appreciate y'all listening. It's got 13,000 streams right now. But no, seriously. So this is one thing I was telling them. I was actually on a podcast a couple weeks ago, and they were asking me about music and all types of stuff. And I said, now, why am I a music maker and I'm finding myself making a podcast, right? Well, the reason is because it's hard to sell people a song. It's easier to sell people content and then put a song that goes along with it, right? And so we wanted to get a lot of things accomplished, right? We wanted to tell the narratives of the culture here on campus. We wanted to amplify voices, and we also want this to be a vehicle for the song, you know? So that's something that we always talk about, we teach. So speaking of narratives, as we get out of here, as each organization and the Black Greek Council overall is controlling their own narrative, what's the last thing you want to tell people? What's the last word you want to leave folks with about your organization?
At the end of the day, we just trying to better ourselves, better our community. We just love community acts of service. We just love doing what we can for the community, just uplifting the Black community as well. So, you know, that's all we stand for, is just uplifting the people around us and making a positive change wherever we go.
I agree. And then to piggyback off that, just giving people like a safe space where they feel like they're heard. We can hear everybody's story, listen to their voices. Like, it's not always about us giving to the community. We also learn a lot of things from the community too, with all the programs that we do as well. So we're giving, but then we're also taking in a lot of stuff.
And I also want to emphasize that as a whole, we're a unit. Like, we're unifying, and we're all in this together.
So how can people find the Illinois Black Greek Council and your respective organizations on social media?
So they can find BGC, literally BGC_Illinois. That's it. Okay. And then from there, our page is flooded with organizations ads where you can find their pages, or you can easily look up whatever chapter on the FSA website, and you can see the chapter name. We usually go by our chapter names on Instagram, so you can look that up, and I'm sure it'll pop up. There's no other ones like us.
All right, then. Well, I'd like to thank Jasmine Kellogg and the good folks here at the Bruce D. Nesbitt African American Cultural Center for hosting us. Thank you to our videographer, Boots Howard, and our audio production staff, CJ Rosas and John Johnson. Thank you to our guests, the Illinois Black Greek Council, and thank you for joining me on this episode of Campus Culture.